welcome back to another episode of Chatting with Chat in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Today I'm joined by Dr. Joseph Ricci, a board certified plastic surgeon at Northwell Health who specializes in breast reconstruction. He trained at Weill Cornell, Harvard, and NYU. Definitely no good brand names there, and has contributed to more than 60 publications already. This month, we're hosting our second annual October to Remember Gala with all ticket proceeds going directly to support patients recovering from breast cancer at Northwell's Long Island Jewish Medical Center. Dr. Ricci, today we're really glad to be partnering with you guys this year. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. Even if I do have to remind everyone here that my Ravens did beat his Giants in the Super Bowl. Sadly for both of us, it was a number of years ago, and I'm sure at some point he'll tell you how excited he is for Jackson Dart to be the new quarterback for them.
No, they can't be any worse than they are now. Let me say that.
Exactly.
And I'm a very loyal person, as I was saying to you before.
Yeah,
So, patients or people who are coming here to see us can at least take some stock in that.
love that. So I'd love to, I guess, start with your personal journey. What first inspired you to go from Giants fan into plastic and reconstructive surgery?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I originally, when I was in medical school, didn't know what I was going to be doing. And I kind of got into by accident a rotation in plastic surgery. We used to do these 1 week selectives as part of our general surgery, 12-week requirement.
Hmm.
And I, I remember seeing this patient that was undergoing a head and neck reconstruction case. And, we took a big piece of their jaw off and were able to rebuild it using bones from their leg. And I was just thinking there's this amazing field of surgery that's relatively unknown to me. And then I ended up doing a further rotation with them. I think the thing for me that got me interested in plastic surgery, more to your question, is we're really one of the only surgical specialties that is not that doesn't really measure, you know, uh, sort of the quantity of life. We're really interested in the quality of life that you have.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the surgeries, whether that's reconstructive surgery or cosmetic surgery, which are sort of all under the umbrella of plastic surgery,
Hmm.
really are aimed at that fact, which is improving the quality of life for people. And I think for me, that's the thing that really intrigued me most about it, and which is what gives me kind of motivation to do it on a daily basis.
I love that. I remember getting to meet you last year when we did the gift for the gala, and we kind of talked about quality and patient experience. And I know, as I told you then, those are two of the things that have really driven our creation of Care+Wear and focusing on products that help patients feel comfortable and confident even during the toughest days. And I think for us, it was always trying to make the everyday challenges of healing a little easier. From
Absolutely.
your perspective, what are some of the toughest challenges that patients face after reconstructive surgery, not just physically, but also emotionally?
Well, I think a lot of patients, as we were talking about quality of life, our objective is to restore as much as we can of their quality of life. And a lot of times I would tell the patients, the the reconstruction is not the same as original equipment. And
Right.
whether that's a breast, a leg, a face, there can be a fair amount. I think from a challenges perspective, there can be a fair amount of aftercare that are needed for patients,
Hmm.
obviously, like wound care. Um, and we're doing a lot of complex things, so that increases the complications. But I think from a quality perspective, people initially sometimes are dealing with disfigurement as an issue.
Yeah.
Whether that's mastectomy, and you can imagine having no breast reconstruction, for instance, I think very pertinent to our conversation here,
Yeah.
or whether that's, people who need to, a burn that need skin grafts or other things like that. A lot of these patients require multiple surgeries, multiple revisions, and they might have a period in between where their quality of life is maybe temporarily worse because it's
Right.
sort of a stepping stone to the end game. And I think that that's a big psychological hurdle for people where, they might have open wounds or other things and they feel that they're disfigured or they can't participate in their activities of daily living. They can't participate in activities with their friends. And that's very challenging for patients.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I remember as a kid, I got tubes in my ears 3 times, and I also broke my bones numerous times. And even, with the cast, you would always feel at one point it's cool to be the kid with the cast and getting everyone to write on it, and then By the time I broke another bone in eighth grade, it was no longer cool, and it was like, what the heck's wrong with you? And that's just a cast. That's obviously
Yeah,
temporary. So I can't even fathom what some of your patients have to go through each and every day.
right. And
Kind of,
patients can't even
okay.
go to they can't even, you think about as a kid with a cast, you can't go
Yeah.
swimming or something like
Yeah.
that. It's a big deal when you're a kid.
Oh,
But when
yeah.
you're an adult and you can't go to the grocery store or things like that,
Right.
that's very challenging.
Yeah. No, and it's, you don't feel like yourself. You don't feel human anymore.
Yeah.
Um, when we think about Reconstruction, are there any myths or misconceptions that you wish more people understood?
Um, I think that maybe ties back into what we just said about
Yeah.
challenges. I think that I think everybody assumes that when we do these complex reconstructive cases, that it's going to be one procedure and we're done. And even though I'm
Right.
wearing a football scrub cap right now, give you the analogy of like a baseball, right? And
Yeah.
everybody assumes we're going to step up to the plate and hit a home run. And
Right.
that's not true because there's a huge risk of us striking out for the
Yep.
baseball fans, right? I would rather we get a single, we get on base. And so, I think doing the first surgery as a safe surgery and getting us like 75, 85, 95% of the way. And then if we need to, adjusting it is the best and safest way to go. And many of the patients that we treat here are, they've been referred from other providers or they've been rejected by other providers because they have too many medical issues. They're too old, they're too sick, they have too many
Yeah.
problems. And so these are kind of, I don't want to say that some patients are like seemingly lost causes, but we do take up the flag here at the
Yeah.
LIJ, Long Island Jewish Campus, for a lot of these patients, being like a real referral center for our network and surrounding areas. And I think that, if we can get people to the finish line, we've got to do it slowly and safely. Sometimes that is what we need to do, and I think that that's not understood a lot of times. Or that's misconceived or misconstrued by patients and families.
I love that. And I love your analogy. It's basically you're thinking of being like the Billy Bean, right? Like you're the Moneyball
Yeah,
version where really focused on OPS and all that. I guess in terms of, so I think there's been, and it's been incredible to see over the last 10 or 20 years just how much more education and awareness there is about breast cancer. If you had to choose one piece of information, I guess besides the fact that you are going to likely need more than one surgery, but if there was one piece of information that you think more people should know in terms of early detection or prevention, what would it be?
I think that I find that there are far too many people. And now I don't get the immediate referral for breast cancer, right? A lot of these
Right.
patients are meeting breast surgeons and then
Yep.
being
And then
referred to
they
me.
come to you. Yeah.
But sometimes I am very sad to hear, that people noticed they had a growth or a mass or bloody drainage coming from their breast and didn't follow up, didn't see a doctor, and I
Right.
think breast cancer is something we actually have a wide variety of excellent treatments for: surgical, medical, hormonal, radiation. And patients, one of the things I like about treating patients with breast cancer is that a lot of them do get better. They get back to their
Right.
life, they feel good, they can go back to doing everything they want to do, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot of patients who wait too long. So
Hmm.
with regard to detection, I mean, I would say get screened
Yeah.
early. If you have family members that have had disease, especially as early young people, you had a family member, a sister, a mother, or a cousin who's 30s that had breast cancer, you should be getting tested. You should be getting looked at. And if you're noticing anything, you should come in right away and get checked out.
Yeah. No, I think for some reason, all of us, I guess, are a little scared of what we might find out. And so instead of figuring that out early and getting it resolved or fixed, we just wait till it's too late. So that's really great feedback and advice.
I absolutely
Um,
agree. And it can be very scary for patients, but I would say the alternative could be scarier.
yeah, no, exactly. I think one thing that we've really tried to focus on at Care+Wear is helping support the community. So we've been really fortunate to build an incredible community of survivors who are now ambassadors for us. But more importantly for us, it's not just sharing more on the products, but creating a space for awareness, conversation, information that can help make a difference. For those that are listening today who have loved ones going through reconstructive surgery, what's the best way that they can show support to their loved ones?
I think one of the biggest things that families or friends, loved ones of any sort can do for their patient, their um, friend or family member who's going through reconstruction is to try to make themselves available, I would say in the immediate post-operative period, because I think that's where
Mm,
people are struggling the most.
yeah,
They might be having a lot of pain after surgery. They might be
right,
having, as we were talking about before, disfiguring open wounds or other things. Maybe they can't get to the grocery store. Maybe they can't even get out of bed to help themselves,
right,
to make themselves some dinner or something like that. And so I think that if possible, the best thing to do, is to make yourself available to assist your friend or family member, at that moment so that you can just help them with those little things that they're not able to do. I think very often people think that they're going to undergo a big reconstruction. They're just going to jump out of bed and run down
right,
the
and be
hallway
back. Yeah.
and be 100% back to normal. And that's not the reality of it in most cases.
No, totally. It's similar. I mean, when you're getting surgery, it's you don't recover within 2 minutes, right? Like,
Correct.
absolutely. So last year we had the opportunity to partner together and we were able to donate hundreds of recovery bras. And I think for us, I am not a surgeon, I'm not a nurse, but getting to see firsthand the impact the products can have really motivates us to help keep finding ways to bring comfort and confidence to the people that need it most. And we're really excited to be working with you all again. When you think about, so basically all ticket proceeds from this gala will be used to donate the bras to individuals healing from the surgery. In your opinion, what kind of impact can products like this have on day-to-day recovery?
So first, let me just thank you for partnering with our hospital because I do think that, and thank you for giving us such a generous donation. I do think that the patients really, my patients, and I think my entire group of plastic surgeons here and just patients in general in the hospital have benefited from these bras. The post-operative garments in this case can be really helpful for people, and I think sort of two areas. One is sort of the physical aspect of it. It's helping with compression. That's decreasing their swelling. It's decreasing their pain. It's helping them to recover faster. And then I think the second is this emotional aspect or psychological aspect we've been talking about. They feel like having a comfortable bra. It's what they're used to. It's like
Right.
not that they're back to normal, but it makes them feel normal, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I hate to use term like that, right? But I do think that it helps people get back into this headspace where like things are going in the right direction and they can get better and life will get back to how it used to be in some shape for them. And I can't even tell you, I think we were just talking about the bra donation relative to the gala and
Yeah.
the administrator said, well, what do we need? I said, we need more leopard print bras. I said, I got to tell you, I go into the rooms and my patients, I said, well, we have black and we have white and we have leopard. And they're like, well, that leopard looks nice. They're like,
Yeah.
can I have two of them? Like, oh, can I have one for, so and so? I'm like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
These are only, these are only for post-operative patients. But I think that it's, you guys have been doing a great job. I think that even just something small like that, like the patterns that are on the
Yeah.
fabric, is a huge upgrade from what we currently, our existing product, which is just like sort of monochromatic one color. And the patients really like that because it gives them back like their sense of style. It's like a little bit of personalized touch. And I think it makes them feel like back to normal.
No, I love that. And more importantly, Susan, our chief product officer, will really love that because she
Yeah,
was adamant about the leopard print bras. And I know she had the same exact thought. And when we surveyed a bunch of patients and survivors, that was what they talked about is, hey, we want to feel more human and we want to be able to
yeah,
express ourselves. We don't just want a boring white or nude
or
or
black or
whatever.
something. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
exactly. So a couple of quick fire questions for
Sure.
you, completely unrelated. Um, who is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
So, you know, I, that's a great question. I would have said that I feel like the Eagles are looking pretty strong. I mean, they
Yeah,
obviously did well last year. I think
right.
that could be a solid. I think they could be a solid contender for.
That's your pick.
I think they could be pretty good. I think Washington maybe in their division will give them a run for their money. They
Really?
have a pretty high octane offense, it
Yeah.
seems to me. So I'm only 3 games in, so I guess we need a little more time to figure
So
it
you're
out.
basically NFC East all the way, even if it's not you guys.
No,
Um,
I mean, I don't know. I think that they're strong contenders for sure.
yeah. What is a book that you've read recently that you think listeners or viewers should read?
I am in the process, almost finished with this book called Outlive by Peter Attila. He's actually a surgeon. He doesn't practice anymore, but
Hmm.
I believe he doesn't practice anymore. But he trained at Johns Hopkins, and he's very into the idea of preventative medicine. And so,
Mm.
with a simplistic version, basically, it's you could say something like, heart disease is a major killer
Yeah.
or it's a major disease for adults in the United States. So his idea is, well, we should be encouraging people to like eat healthy, exercise, lower cholesterol when they're 20 to slow down the development of this. And so the idea being that, not only can you live to 80 or 100, but you can live back to plastic surgery with a better quality of life at that age, right? It's not just like
Yeah.
you're laying in a bed and you can't get, your heart is too weak, you can't get out. You could actually like climb a mountain if you wanted to. And
Right.
I think it's a fascinating, I'm a little older than 20, so maybe I missed the window, but I do think it's a
Yeah.
fascinating idea that early intervention, like waiting until you have a problem to decide to
Right.
do something,
Yeah.
is not right. It's getting ahead of it, which goes back also to your idea of screening women
Right.
for breast cancer, right? So finding these things when they're small or early makes
Yeah.
everything more treatable.
No, absolutely. And then lastly, when you're not helping save lives and performing surgery, what do you like to do for fun?
I love to travel. So I like visiting different places, trying new foods, experiencing new cultures.
Yeah.
My most recent trip I went to was to Japan.
Oh,
Believe it or
wow.
not, with my girlfriend. Yeah, she really
Yeah.
wanted to go, and we sort of took this big trip together. And it's fascinating. It's so different there, but it was
Oh,
it
yeah.
was so much like the United States, which it's very like first world. Like you go in, they have air conditioning, and they are very into like sanitization of
Yeah.
food and things like that. Which a lot of other Asian countries, it's not necessarily the case. A lot of those people are struggling more, and so I just thought it was like a fascinating place. I mean, it's so different, but it's so similar, which is very
Yeah.
remarkable. I loved
Yeah.
it.
I've sadly only been in the Tokyo airport, never made it outside, but it's definitely on the list of places to visit.
It's a beautiful
Uh,
place.
Oh yeah, that's what everyone tells me. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending the time today. We're excited to see you on October 23rd at our gala. He'll be willing to sign autographs for the first 30 minutes there. If you bring Giants gear, he'll really be willing to sign autographs. But no, seriously, thank you for what you and the team do each and every day. I know numerous people that have had their lives saved because of the work that you all do, and I think we're just honored to get to take a small part of that and to be able to support all the amazing breast cancer warriors together.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your donation. And I look forward to seeing you guys as well at the
Yeah,
gala.